Hello, beautiful stars. Courtney here with Stars of the Morning Light. Today we have the lovely Kristie McKinley. She is going to be at our New Earth Energy Market, so I'm excited to talk with Kristie. The first time anybody joins us, I ask, what is your personal definition of awakening?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate this. I love your channel. So awakening for me is multi-layers and multi-degrees of awareness. We, in our healing, because I thought about it, I was like, when you wake up, sometimes when it's really jarring, you're very disoriented and it's hard to kind of process what's occurred. But if you gently wake up, just kind of, without an alarm clock, it's like there's so much, so it's a much more pleasant experience. And the ability to retain what might have come up in sleep or in stillness just makes it easier to, have your ahas, brings even more, even greater awareness. And it allows so much more room for like self-compassion for starters, and then the ability to feel confident into connecting with your higher self and just fulfilling why, what you're here to be on this planet to achieve, for starters.
May I ask, because it's interesting that you said that, because I believe, there's the layers that you were talking about, and I love that like metaphor or imagery there of waking up jarring when that alarm comes on, or waking up nicely and like Sunday morning type stuff. I like that because I think it happens either way, in different ways, like you were saying, different layers. But maybe if people can pull back and go, okay, I'm awake now, let's ease into it. I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody put imagery to that question before. I think you're the first one. And I love that, because I ask because we all experience things differently. We walk this journey together, but it's all different at, individually, right?
Yeah.
And so everyone knows Kristie here. She was at our first event. And she's going to be here April 29th for New Earth Energy Market. And we're going to get into all who Kristie is. Because, by the way, folks, Kristie and I, we've talked, but we haven't been able to really come together. But I know just from what we have shared, being around her presence, Courtney and Kristie are a lot alike. And I've seen her healing. I've seen what she does. I listen to her videos. She's a wonderful, wonderful being. So I'm excited about this. And what people don't know, Kristie, is the name that it has now. The event and future events, that name actually came from you. Because originally, how this really started was awkward, weird. I was just trying to do things for other people. Instead of one-day event, it was like, no, we need like 2 or 3 days. This is the name, it's got to have this. And then they all fell away. And during the event that you participated, the first one, you kept referring to New Earth Energy Market.
Yeah, I remember you mentioning that. I was like, it's fun.
Yeah, it was you kept referring to it as that, and I didn't stop you. I just kind of, at some point, I didn't. I'm gonna think, that's not the name, but that's a really darn good name. So Kristie is really the one. So you have contributed in so many ways, and now the whole name of whatever this may build and grow into, community, that name is from you, darling. So I like it.
Oh, cool. Thanks. Yeah, it just seemed like I've been in the practice of being more aware of like what all of my gifts are, because I've had to realize them in layers. And starting out, I was really just anxious and excited and just trying to how can I contribute? How can I, serve the planet. And I had to go through my own journey with that. And the reason why and I'll sound like a broken record as far as like self-compassion, I showed myself zero grace in the beginning of this. I was like, oh, I'm a level 2, I'll be fine. No, 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 no. And that was like, talk about learning curve. I have learned to be soft with myself with expectations, especially around goals. Because you set a goal and then it goes completely off the rails, and then you want to like beat yourself up and get really mad and like start blaming other people and really dogging down on yourself. I'm like, no, there is a reason for this. What? And my teacher, oh my God, I love her. She's just like, is this a lesson or a lesson? I'm like, yes. So it's like, what is a lesson in the lesson in the things that don't turn out well for us? And like, what way can I show myself grace? What is the lesson in this? And then if getting a lesson from it, like, fine. But like, if you can like bring in a little bit of laughter, if you can kind of chuckle at yourself a little bit, I consider that a bonus. Because lots of times I don't think we laugh nearly enough. And usually when I'm like having a session with someone, if I can, when it's appropriate, of course, try and feel like, hey, it's okay. And then I usually draw upon my own examples of many life things to say, you're not alone. It's okay. You've got this. You are fine. And I think a lot of people don't have enough folks in their lives that can sincerely say that and convey that for them. So I'm grateful that I'm able to do that for them sessions.
Yeah, can actually, I pull on with you on that, because honestly, I think a lot of spiritual growth starts there. Just start to develop self-compassion and grace, like you said. Can you maybe expand on your journey a bit of what that actually looks like in life, and what you did, and just explain some of your journey so others, because it's hard to, there's a lot out there. You can always see a meme, you can always see a post, you can always you know but what it really feels like and looks like in reality, those memes are not. So what did that look like for you over time?
Oh gosh. So one of the things that are kind of coming to mind is like trusting myself to do things in a correct way. I didn't realize until later on in life that sometimes I wasn't necessarily diagnosed as maybe dyslexic, but like one time I had gotten my nines and my P's backwards. And because I was really stressed in the situation, I had a teacher who did not understand how to work with children with learning challenges, just not react in a positive way. And looking back on that now, I didn't get my aha out of understanding that until I was teaching a level 2 Reiki class. And I saw it for what it was. It in my mind's eye, it looked like this invasive weed, like the core of an invasive weed that you're trying to cut out from the ground. And I was like, oh, wow. And then as time went on, I began to like connect the dots and like all the little offshoots that grew from that, oh, am I doing this right? Will I get punished? Will I get yelled at? Way into like adulthood. And it was so subtle because yes, I'd been doing so much healing on myself, but at the same time, this root ball of a weed was sapping my energy from other things that I want to do, all like the goals and things that I want to do. The first time that I ever put my shingle out to be a oh, bless you, a Reiki practitioner. I know these allergies, girl. Oh my gosh. The first time that I put my shingle out to be a Reiki practitioner, I self-sabotaged it because I was afraid to write articles and post and put myself out there. And I just thought, oh, I'm a Reiki 2 practitioner. This will work. But I was too afraid to do the little things all the things that I'm doing now to just show up. And so that's what if nothing else, just showing up and just doing what I can when I can, and resting when my body's like, friend, rest, please, rest. And I had to learn that the hard way. And I had to witness a lot of important people in my life pass away because they just, for a story so long, is beyond is beyond this our time together right now. Just like, okay, this is my teaching moment. I can choose to stay on this path and probably befall a similar outcome as this person, or I can take all this wisdom, show myself grace and just figure out what works for me. So yeah, just lots of different examples of just fear of messing up and not doing it right when I should have, and when it behooved me to realize this is a teaching moment so that the next time it's easier and better for you, and
Yeah.
not adding all the weightiness of all the emotions and the meaning attachment. You're simply learning a thing so that it's easier for you to do it again, like tying your shoes, not peeing on yourself when you're potty training, when you're driving. Some people do okay with driver's ed. Some people do okay just figuring it out in their neighborhood. Need a driver's ed. I'm grateful for drivers.
Kristie, and so all of that, and I apologize, I started coughing there.
That's okay.
Yesterday was the first day that I actually got to get outside in the garden, and so now my whole, it's
Yeah.
different down here in the South, folks. There's a reason why they grow everything down here. So I love how you bring that up and all the little things and the retraining and the compassionate with it. For me, and I guess maybe just knowing and listening to your different stuff, I can really tell you have put in the work and gave you that freedom and space, that letting go of the expectations. And like you said, because ladies and gentlemen, like when she mentioned Reiki, and Kristie is a Reiki Master Teacher. I hear she's darn good at it. And I've been in the room with Kristie that doing Reiki, and you can see it, you can live, feel it, see it, all of it. Did Reiki help you with all that expansion? You said teacher. You can give her a shout out, or him, whomever, a shout out if you would like. Because what I did notice, Kristie, too, as a practitioner teacher, you stay with the traditional, which I very much appreciate. And maybe we'll talk about the differences that go on in the communities, and maybe a little bit of the conversations that happen there, let's say. Do you feel that Reiki was kind of one of your onsets of the expansion and being compassionate with yourself?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It helped me, and because of, the fear of, all the fears that came up, I had like various addictions, and it helped me reframe how I looked at addictions, and layer by layer. One of the last addictions that I realized I had was to work.
Yeah.
Right. And so we as a culture, we glorify that. And then, the pandemic happens, and then we can't engage in our addiction like that. And some people did not handle that. To say people didn't handle that is like an understatement of the century, but it helped me realize, wow, this is just another addiction. Okay, well, let's meditate on this. Let's journal about this. My teacher, she's not only she's a Reiki practitioner and a shaman, but she's also a cognitive behavioral therapist. And by divine grace, I started working with her right before my father passed away. So to be with her through through major milestones in my development as an energy worker has been tremendously profound. But like, just not shaming myself for feeling like I had to work, not feeling like I had to shame and guilt myself into oblivion because, I drank too much, or I ate too much food, or, I did too many drugs. It's just like, I realized it was just a poor relationship with the thing that I was engaged in. Lots of people have a glass of wine with dinner and that's the end of it. And some people need an entire bottle. I didn't really ever, or very rarely needed an entire bottle, but that was before I became a Reiki practitioner purposely. But I was just like, okay, I'm just having a poor relationship with that. Okay, what's going on with that? And through, sitting with stillness and quiet, all those stories came like, oh, that's why. And oh, okay. And there's a lot of me, I'll be like just in the grocery store or in the shower. I'm like, oh, so if you ever see me in the grocery store, like, is she okay? I'm having a resting think face.
Yeah, I go through the same thing. I, you know, Yeah, people don't do well. I feel sometimes that people don't do well with me around a grocery store because I'm still gonna do me regardless of where I'm at, right? And I that happens all the time with me because thoughts come when thoughts come. A lot when I'm driving, and it really is the same for everybody. But there's some who are willing to just have the experience in the moment, opposed to their checklist and or worried what the society is going to view them as.
Yeah.
Um, and I've actually seen you in moments like that in different places. And our community just have that moment. It's
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah.
Um, it is multi-layered. And that stillness that you talked about, that's wonderful. Because inside of that, I think is where the healing truly begins and starts going, and we get to identify. Yeah, definitely. What as far as Reiki, because I'm even now, Kristie, it seems a few years ago there was a bunch of stuff out there of like it's demonic and blah 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 going on. And
Yeah.
then I've seen a little bit of that return of this is dangerous.
Yeah.
Um, and then like I kind of spoke about like in the community, there's different sets of opinions as to staying very traditional, the westernized that happened. I'm sure you understand. Um,
Mhm.
what is your take on Reiki, period? Just because, ladies and gentlemen, you beautiful stars, I have seen Kristie work. She's an amazing, actually, out of those that I do know, you're you're in my top two, man. So it's yeah, you are. Um, so what is your take? What is your maybe because I know you're more traditional, how do you feel about things? How would you talk about it?
Well, as far as its intention, I think if you have the intention to do the best you can, come from a place of love, the Reiki is not going to like go askew if you come right into a session and somebody tried to cut you off in traffic. That's when that during that time for you to kind of get yourself centered, be present for yourself and spirit. Um, it's I don't know. It's like I think if it's from such a like weirdly rational phase, it's spiritual. You don't have to believe in a religion, and with that, I don't know if I don't and correct me, I don't know if there's any spirituality that has a devil or a demon. There's demons, but they're usually like representations of like energy. And honestly, the only demons I've ever seen are like humans so drunk on fear they can't see straight, and then they act accordingly. So I don't know. I think because the Reiki in all of its forms, no matter what name you give it, has happened for so long. It's because of our influences and how we were raised. I think intuitively, whatever feels from your heart is the right thing for you to do. And if someone is like trying to understand whether or not they should ever receive a Reiki session, if they really don't feel it in their heart, like don't book a session. Don't come to a Reiki share. Just don't, and don't feel bad if you don't want to do it if you've been invited. But and to that, like I see a lot of like energy workers, especially Reiki practitioners. The way I was trained is like not having that expectation when you invite someone to like a session, because you don't know what part of their path is on. Maybe the part of their path right now is to not get Reiki. Maybe it's just for them to research it so they understand about it, but not be attached to whatever session or whatever they say or not. Just be grateful that you felt brave enough to like say it, because maybe that was your teaching moment and didn't have anything to do with them. And so I just offer love and just do the best I can to be mindful of my voice, because I know when I get really excited and really just I can be a little loud and just see what this teaching moment presents for me. And I don't know, just let spirit just have the conversations, and then let our meat suits just figure it.
Yeah. What's great about what you're saying is it actually ties into what you were previously saying because in Reiki, we're the practitioner, master teacher, whomever, we're not in control of the outcome.
Mm-mm.
And for me, really bringing that into myself,
Yeah.
that into, because I have a workaholic issue as well, like big time. I mean, I even was talking to somebody last night on the phone, a good friend of mine, and I said, yeah, I'm reestablishing a lot of balance right now, from work. And I just got out of the shower at 8 o'clock and I'm not working anymore. Like, I'm putting all of it down. And he kind of joked and was like, you, Courtney, ha ha ha, right. Like you and your work issue. I have a bad problem. Not even, I will tell you, it was kind of even more of a problem when I started doing my own business and doing the work I want to do. Because
Yeah.
then there was also enjoyment attached to the workaholic aspect. And I was like, that no, you hit burnout. Well, I hit burnout. And it was going back to the precepts, going back to Reiki concepts of I'm not in control of all this outcome, so stop pushing it. And if you're stop pushing it, you ain't working all that hard. You're not working hard, or working the hours that, so it's kind of twofold for me. So much of the precepts and thoughts that come through seeped into my general life. Same with Kristie, I gotta say the last major purge that I had of like a massive blockage happened, I believe, January of 2019. And it was the blockage of perfectionism.
Mm. Yeah.
And I personally, like, I think Reiki was doing whatever Reiki was doing, because that I didn't even understand what was happening until retrospect.
Yeah.
And that purge for some reason was so difficult. Um, and I never thought I even had that problem for the most part. And
Yeah.
then all of a sudden it's showing up. And I will tell you, when we first moved down here in 2015, I was really absorbed in perfectionism. I was in a new place.
Yeah.
I was new people, new place, trying to find my way. And then it just build and build and build. And then all of a sudden it had healed so much of me that then when that was presented, woo, what a ride. What a
Yeah.
ride. It seeps into everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember when I was in that space of like, why does it have to look like this or be this way? And I think when I got tired of being so sick all the time and just tired and cranky and just like, I was like, okay, what feels good? What feels easy? If a mentor said, what would this look like if this were easy? And I was like, okay, what would this look like? Okay. And then I would just try and find the path of least resistance, which you're trying to steer the back. So, like, no, okay, just make sure we don't go smashing on the rocks. What would this feel like if this were easy? And I just settled into just listening more to my intuition, which if you're a recovering control freak like I am, that's weird. But I just trust, faith and trust, and just, okay. And when I'm calm, it's easier to see, options and solutions. And just kind of saying that as a mantra and going through phases where that's all I was doing, was writing and reciting mantras. And then when I got into like healthier habits, like water was like the was like the most profound yet the most lesson, right? Like water, drink water and that'll change your life. Duh. And so now I'm like, no, seriously, let's get into the habit of drinking water, and a lot of water. So this is green tea and I'll have my cup of coffee, but like 98% of everything else I drink in a day is water, with the occasional, when I go eat Mexican food with my husband, they have really good margaritas and I will enjoy my drink.
Do
But
it.
just water, just doing the simple things, because when you're raised to be, to do things in such a way, they have to look a certain way. um something so simple just feels silly. Like that, just drink water. Yes, no, seriously, please. I promise you it'll change your life. And I had like issues with eczema, and a lot of it was alleviated by drinking water and staying hydrated and like watching what I ate and taking it easy, or just pretty much cutting out the sugar, and being mindful of my mindset and like the skin stuff that I use on my skin. And just, if I have a flare up, okay, I'm having a flare up, don't make myself wrong for having a flare up. We understand while we're having a flare up, it's totally fine. Just drink more water, put the salve on that you made, it's okay. And just showing yourself grace and getting a little silly and like, it's all good. And, talking to yourself a whole bunch, and it's totally fine. And just, it's all good. It's all good. Hydration, and it's all good.
I, I, hey, all the stars listening right now, you beautiful beings of love and light. I see, I'm not the only one, guys, that preaches water, because Kristie, me too. I mean, water, water, water. And I always drink a lot of water, but everybody around me doesn't. My sister can't stand water. And I'm like, just please drink water. Like, I don't know how you don't, but there was a time that it was a lot of soda and water. And once you cut that out, just water. Oh, so I thank you, Kristie, because I get enough here, and now you're just giving it to them more. Water, water, folks. We're going into a clear. Better get used to it. So
you can jazz it up with like sliced fruit. You can do some fruit. Fruit water, and you can like I like it cold, cool, but I'll take room temperature. But yeah, it's just easier, just especially when it gets hot. I mean, yeah, I'm a nicer person when I'm hydrated. Some days I just assume drink something else, but I'm a nicer, more together human being when I am properly hydrated. And that's usually my, oh God, I'm tired of drinking water. Remember how you are when you're dehydrated. Okay.
That's
no
awesome.
Guilt, no shame. Just drink water.
I find it awesome that you're saying that, Kristie, because that's actually a good insight. You are a better. Think about it, because our brains are, our whole being, our body suit that I like to say we're in, that is a part of our mind, body, soul, as people say.
Yeah.
If it's not feeling good, we're not going to be. So, and you said two things, Kristie, to me that first you said the simple thing. And I too also believe that, as well as, it's interesting because we try to teach so much more deep, complex, esoteric, this and that knowledge. And I'm always going, how are you doing with just being a human? The basic stuff. Just, are you good to your fellow neighbor? Are you good to yourself? Are you drinking water? Just basic human, because all that other stuff is not going to mean much if you're not just taking care of the human aspect. And I give you kudos to that, because it's a lot comes down to, are you drinking water? Are you just doing what you need to do? But you said something in there also, and you've said it like maybe twice now, trust. How did you build that self-trust? Because the days that the time we live in, all of us have trust issues, all of us, right? So, but for me personally, it's how do we start developing that self-trust? How did that look like for you?
Let's see. I think it started with when I was really focusing on the root chakra and the sacral, because everything's connected. But I just knew, just for like physical issues, that it was important to kind of focus on the root chakra. And I think as I began to heal that and kind of soften all the ways that I wasn't showing myself grace, and then a lot of self-forgiveness work is like, I love, honor, and forgive myself for how I wanted my body to function. I love, honor, and forgive myself for all the times that I didn't trust myself and I didn't listen to my intuition. Because when you trust yourself, it's a part of it is like kind of, for me, I had to relearn how to listen to my intuition, and then the feelings I have for like when I'm presented with like different questions, or when someone that is like walking up to me, talking to me, listening to them verbally, but then also kind of intuiting what their intentions are when they're asking me a question or talking to me. Because lots of times, if you're meeting someone for this first time, you don't want to like blah, but you want to like present like a competent face. But I appreciate people that try their best to communicate with me, but I take issue if someone is being dishonest.
Mm.
And so when somebody's being honest with me, like, okay, look, I've messed up and this is what happened, I would prefer that than someone not accepting responsibility for their part and allowing what happened, which I had to learn for myself. And in that, I had to show myself grace, so that when that was cemented and solid for me, when someone presented that to me, I could show them compassion and grace, so that they wouldn't, so they help them, kick them out of their cycle of shame and guilt, so they're not imparting that on someone, not only themselves, but on someone else. And so I'm helping myself break my own cycle as I'm helping someone else break their own cycle, so that it's kind of, and just doing it in little bits, just in general conversation. I'm much more like involved, during a Reiki session where we're like talking and it's just the two of us. But it's like just learning in layers to trust yourself when, and just get into the habit of doing that. So even when a new version of a lesson in trust appears, it's like, okay, this feels familiar. This feels kind of root chakra trust. Okay. And then I'm like learning as I'm like teaching. And so, yeah.
No, I get what
in real time.
I get what you're saying. Especially those for me. That's and actually my Reiki Master Teacher, because I had many different teachers. The one that was my Reiki Master Teacher, she would say that a lot. This goes both ways. The student is teaching the master, and the master is teaching the student, right? And I do believe that, because oftentimes, as a communicator, I'm working stuff out as I'm talking to you and helping,
Right.
or even just releasing. I'm like, then it goes, oh, yep, that's what you needed, Courtney.
Yeah.
And the part about, because I agree with you too, um I can give people grace, forgiveness. I can work with you wherever you're at. I seriously can, because I understand we're all just human here, right?
Mhm.
Is when the lies start coming in. Like, sweetheart, I'd rather you just tell me the truth. You could have messed up royally, but if you told me the truth, well, then we do this together. We solve it. We figure it out. We move on. We heal. We work through it, and that goes for all people. It's when the lies are present that it's like, and I think you're saying, for people like you and I, we can identify it pretty darn easy. I mean, it's pretty glaring that, especially all his energy, that I wish more people understood that, because um, I found also a bit more in the younger generations, and it may be because they're just younger still and they got to work through, into
Oh yeah.
maturity, right? But it was just like, geez, you do not have to something that is not real. It was a lot of the presentation stuff that it's difficult. And I think uh, a lot of people, especially here that are listening, that irks them completely.
Yeah.
I get more responses and emails, and I can imagine them in the chat right now listening, going, I hate it. I hate when people do that. I hate when people do
Yeah.
that. That I've had to take more of, like, when they start doing that, an observer role of, okay, I'm still going to forgive you. Forgiveness doesn't
Yeah.
change. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? People don't
Yeah.
get, like, forgiveness is still there, even if there's a
Yeah.
lie.
Yeah.
It's weird how much that's ingrained into society.
You know what? And it's in when you were mentioning that, I remembered like when I went through my own phase of like lying and making up stories when I was younger. Um, yeah, there is that. I know that you're not telling the truth, but it's just I remember the reasons why I felt compelled to lie, but that still doesn't negate the fact that I lied, and it doesn't make it excusable. But it's really kind of hard, and I think that's the reason why so many energy workers burn out so much, because they're in that observer being role at the same time. And I'm just like, I'm really trying hard to hold compassion for you, but I can tell that you're even lying to yourself right now as you're lying to me. So I don't really know what to do with this, as you were saying. And it's just like, okay. And I just send them, love, and offer their spirit Reiki in hopes that they get to a point where they're either so tired of lying to themselves that they seek um, help. Doesn't feel right, but it's like a better way to communicate, so that they can move forward on their soul's purpose. But until they're willing to, even if they're at least be like some degree of honesty, I don't really know how I can help them if they're not willing to be honest as best as they can. If it's just going to be, if their best defense system is a lie, um, short of coming to me and booking a session about that and realizing that they're like habitual liar and need help, I'm not really sure. But that's just where I am right now. And who knows, as soon as this is over, I might have an aha in the shower about it. But yeah, it's still kind of like, wow, really? I'm an energy worker, but okay. But I get it. But okay. It's just like,
It's hard too, and I've had to find like, okay, I'm gonna pick my battles here. You know what I mean? As far as if somebody's in front of me doing that, and it's very clear, no, they're actually lying to themselves. The reason they're lying to you is because they're lying to themselves,
yeah,
which is oftentimes the case.
yeah,
That I've had to learn, okay, I can just relay the information, kind of that, not control the outcome anymore, because picking your battles, I can relay information and send them anything, and it's going to be up to them. And so I tend to also think, like how you just said, an aha moment in the shower. I'm hoping that when they're by themselves, alone with themselves, whatever was exchanged does its work then. Because a lot of times it's about appearance, it's about wanting to present something to, and I think, oh, because we're the one they're coming to, they kind of put it on this pedestal, which it's like, no, I'm just as human,
yeah, yeah,
trust me, I've been through the ringer myself, I get it. um that I've just had to hope that they get it later on and start opening that being on self. Because Chrissy, not so much even with the Reiki, I run into that more with doing Akashic reading. I literally will be relaying information that the Akashic wants this person to know, and then will then turn to me and say, I already healed that. Oh, I already took care of that. Oh, I'm already doing that. And I have to sit there and go, and I'll repeat it maybe one more time. Well, maybe you started and then you kind of fell off. So they want you to pick it back. Either I start rewording it, but then by the time they're just denying everything that's coming out of me,
yeah,
I gotta let it go. Because I don't want to turn to that person and be like, listen, I see what's going on. I'm telling you what they would like and to live your best possible life. I
yeah,
literally see what you're doing. I don't go there with them because I can also see they're they're in that self-denial.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's
And
not my
for me, that would have been like an unorchestrated confirmation for me. I would have been like, oh, thank you. That means I need to work on that some more. But again, I've like, I've been just so intently working on unlearning and breaking cycles. So that's just, yeah, the space I am. But I can totally, because I've been in sessions with folks like that, and they're just like they stop listening to you. I'm like, okay, I've done my part. Okay. And then just, yeah, just no expectation.
Yeah, no expectation, not in control of the outcome. It just, for me, I guess, because I'm sure it feels the same to you. We've been doing this quite a while, know the benefits of healing, know how it changes lives. And when you're relaying the information, it's like kind of shocking to my conscious day of, okay, you're not ready yet, which is fine. I've done it enough now that it's like, once again, choose your battles,
Yeah.
which is fine. And you send compassion to them, but it is kind of interesting because in the back of my mind, I'm always thinking, why'd you come to me in the first place?
Well, something I just thought of was like, maybe that was just to the degree that they were willing to wake up to that point. That was just the max healing that they could handle at that time. And you offered them a space to at least get that far so that everything else can assimilate after the fact. I thought of that like afterwards when some things have like I've been fighting with my expectation monster, like you know what? That's just and with my own healing, like this is just the best that my body can do right now with this, and my brain to process what's coming up. And so I'm like, oh, okay, this is what's happening with them because this has happened to me. And so, but I totally get it. It's just like you want so much for them, and I just had to get into the habit. I can't want it more than them. And like that was a serious mantra for me. I can't want it more than them. And that that used to bug the crap out of me. And I'm like, I can't. It doesn't make any sense. It's not good for them. It's not good for you. Just please stop, McKinley. And so so you can't want it more than them. And so
I
yeah.
might, I've never had that thought of like, well, I mean, I've had that thought, but it didn't register enough. Takes communication with one another. It really does. So I've had that thought, but it didn't really sit the way it did when you said it. Of that's where they're at right now. So let it be. As far because, like, I'm sure you're that way too. I see the potential in all people, places, and things that it's you're right there, beautiful. Come on. But I might have to steal that mantra, sister, of I can't want it more than them. Yeah.
Because that was a pinnacle of my burnout. That was a
Mhm.
pinnacle. I was just like, I'm wanting it more than them. And I just think, and I thought back to all the times when someone wanted it more than me and I wasn't ready. And then I felt bad because I wasn't ready. Like they wanted me to be ready. And then, just had to like learn that side lesson. And I'm just like, everything in divine and perfect timing. I have seen so many examples of divine and perfect timing. I've just stopped. Like, it's okay. And this will all get sorted. It's totally fine. It's totally fine.
I agree too, but I will say my personality, all of my sign, all my astrology and all this and that makes that even more difficult for me. I'm pretty I'm all fixed. Like everything in Courtney's chart she is fixed. So it's kind of hard for me to be like, yes, universe, do as you will. When I'm like, I'm fixed. It's a little bit harder for me. Kristie, you also said, so you said we were talking about getting honest with ourselves. In the response to me asking you about trust, I think those two maybe be like honesty and in oneself and others.
Yes. Yes, definitely. And especially just learning how to communicate with ourselves like as clear as we possibly can. And sometimes like even now when I talk to my husband, it's like I don't have the right words for this, but blah. And just being honest about how hard it is to be honest. And like, I don't know how to say this because I have like all this old triggers and those old stories of when I like said what I thought was the truth, I got punished or reprimanded. So I'm like having to work through that. But at least there's like some gratitude and like feeling like you're in a safe enough space to at least voice that. And then in that way, that's a lot of healing too. And so the next time that you have to have a difficult conversation with someone, it's like my friend Amanda Foy said, like, as long as you're coming from a place of love, how they interpret it is not really, it's not on you. You're doing the best you can coming from a place of love. And the longer that someone knows you and understands you, can factor in when you've done a derp and you've said something kind of off, you know, and that for them, they feel comfortable enough to like ask clarifying questions or just infer what you said. And then you're just like, okay, well, I guess they understood. And then just like that softening of just being, it's just so much easier. So that whole cyclical effect of trusting the words coming out of your mouth, and then, you know, coming back and saying, oh, I thought about this. I just want you to understand that I definitely meant this, and it might have been interpreted as that. Because I've done that. I've done like surface conversations and then thought back later, oh, that wasn't very deep, and that might have been interpreted wrong. And then you just message a person and you clean it up. And they were like, oh yeah, I know what you meant. And if not, like, oh, thank you for letting me know. That way it kind of helps you like fine tune and practice how you communicate. But I don't ever speak. I very rarely speak to myself in full sentences sometimes. And so I'm just like, I kind of like either verbally or like intuitively, like, okay, I'll like have half conversations. And my husband's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I'm having a conversation with myself. It's fine. He's like, okay, that's cool. At least you know what you're talking about. I do. Thank you. It's just having a partner that gets you, like all of you, even the bits that don't make any sense to them, is extremely helpful. And I'm eternally grateful. So
It's interesting that, well, you bring up your husband and communication. You know, Brad and I had a very rocky start. I mean, we didn't even know each other, and all of a sudden we're married. I mean, we decided to go all in and then go, oh, who are you? So when we were younger and we were in a rocky position, Brad kept saying, I just want to feel safe. And I was like, what are you talking about? I don't do anything to you. But what I learned, not just for him, but for so many people, the word safe did relate to their comfortability of being able to express themselves.
yeah.
And, you know, I was young and learning, and but just with general society, you know, we all want to be seen and we all want to be heard. Our own personal expression, that I didn't know that people also related that to a level of safety that they feel. I had no idea. I mean,
Yeah, I
literally
didn't. Yeah.
taught me that. I kind of came into this world of like a bulldozer. I came into this world. I mean, what I always did. So I never thought of my communication, my self-expression, wanting to be heard and seen, was even related to safety, because I'm the one bulldozing right through. But
Yeah.
for more general population, that is such a sincere, deep thing for them, that I've really had to learn that about others. And that
Mhm.
was part of my journey, that I will say I still usually in time with somebody, it clicks and I go, oh, there's that feeling. There's that thing, that, you know, the safety thing that they want to, and
Yeah.
that changed me becoming aware of what others experience and feel, opposed to fixed self, right?
Yeah.
Um, so having a partner that showed me that I I I can understand the words that are coming out of you, Kristie, is I guess what I'm trying to express, because if it was the
Yeah.
old me, I wouldn't have understood anything that you just said.
Oh
'Cause
yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah. Yeah. I've had to like I feel like I've kind of into that because like since becoming a Reiki practitioner, like it's like a whole new me that wasn't married, because I got married, oh, gosh, I think 2 years before or a year before I became a Reiki practitioner. And so, you know, as you know, the longer you do this work, you more, it's like it's a speedier progress into like a whole new you. And I just had a clinical sense of safety, because I have an undergraduate degree in psychology and I spent time working in private mental health. So there was that, you know, not asking intrusive questions or not, you know, feel comfortable, you know, answering with the traditional. I didn't mind, you know, doing the traditional way because I worked with so many people that are PTSD, fibromyalgia, burn victims, didn't like to be touched just in general. So having my husband feel safe to be around me. I'm this intuitive, powerful being, and not, and then working through my own judgment crap. Took some work, because I just assumed, oh, he would like understand, oh, you're a Reiki practitioner, it's all good. And like, no, I still have to like work through my meat suit stuff. And it's important that he feels safe, which means I need to check in and make sure if I'm feeling safe, then our relationship, I will bring my safety to this, so he doesn't feel like he's not safe. So I like that you shared that, because doing this work, we're just constantly just healing and growing, and our outside looks fairly the same, short of like changing our hairstyle or whatever, but we're always like a newness that seems to just occur, like, I don't know, several times a day, every day, maybe. So it's just, feeling safe. It's just like, oh, okay, I feel safe. And then just go be that. And that feels kind of like, well, duh, but it's like, just feel safe and then go be that.
Yeah. And that the layers, like you started with, yeah, that's probably going to happen in the shower while you're driving the car. You have that thought
Yeah.
of, oh, and that's
Yeah.
another layer. And
Like,
do you now, Kristie, do you tend to, because I started, because it did start becoming like, oh, this is all the time I'm thinking, and that I started going, okay, is this something that I really have to go deep into, or is this just take it off like it's an old t-shirt, like just throw it out, because I don't have to go as deep with it, and yes, it happened, I can let go. Did you had mine that started kind of becoming, instead of going, oh, I got to go deep with every single thing, it was like, no, that is one of the layers of the onions that's real thin, just throw it away, because that next one might be real deep. Did you do that at all?
I think I learned to intuitively do that. Like when you were talking about getting rid of the old shirt, I've literally, like, the most profound shifts that I had was when I was actually decluttering my clothes. And it was a lot of stuff that my mom had given me, and I kind of had to work through, why do you want to give away? It's perfectly nice. It's, it looks really good, blah, 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 blah. All, and then I realized I was working from a mother wound of scarcity. And I had to love, honor, and forgive myself for holding on to clothes that, while they were lovely and they fit really nice, they just either weren't my style, or just I never felt really excited about. I took like 8 huge yard-sized bags to the thrift store. And another thing, finding a thrift store that you really love and resonates with you, because I knew it was going to help a lot of people. By the time I got home, I had an aha around how to like move my business forward. Like as soon as I walked in the door, like, and just the energetic shift of letting that thing go and just healing further deeply the root chakra and the sacral and, the confidence, the solar plexus and things like that. So I think I intuitively get deep if spirit's like, yeah, just, we need to work a little more deeper in this area. And some things, I think it just depends, I think it just depends.
Yeah. Wow. That's really cool. That's and I want to emphasize too, the action. I mean, you were physically doing something. This process evolved and moved and shifted, and look at that now. Kristie, what all does your business involve? Because I know you do the Reiki and you do the teaching of the Reiki, and you're a coach as well, like a life coach. What all do
I don't really I don't really do the coaching so much. I kind of morph it into the distance Reiki sessions that I do. I do have like in-person sessions at Soulshine in Somerville. And it was really kind of funny how that came about, because I was talking to my teachers like, I'd really like to start doing in-person Reiki again. And then as soon as we got off the call with her, Casey messaged me. So I was just like, blah. And so I do in-person and distance Reiki. And then I also have the meditations on Insight Timer. I'm a meditation teacher there. So I'm wanting to expand a little bit more on Insight Timer, but I really feel drawn to doing the meditations because it kind of gives folks a place to be in like stillness and in that quiet. And everything I do has like distance Reiki around it. And as soon as you listen to the meditations, you receive that Reiki and just have your ahas. And I like that. It's really fun to serve in that way.
So what is Instant Timer? Is that an
Insight Timer, yeah, it's a meditation app. I think they're on both on like the iPhone and Android apps. Actually, I
okay.
think so. Yeah, because we're talking about that. Yeah, and it's a really nice. They have like yoga instructors. They have people doing lives. So yeah, right now I'm just doing virtual distance Reiki with the meditations. And we have like a chat before and after, if anyone wants to share what comes up for them. I kind of do it around particular themes, kind of just depending on what's going on. Right now it's the new moon and full moon, and just trying to find the path of least resistance to work in that area.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice.
thanks.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the moon. Everybody here knows that. Okay, so I know that you also, so the videos that I see on your Facebook, is that a part of that app, or is that just you kind of getting your a message out?
It's just me getting my message out every once in a while. If I feel I've started to notice spirits like, hey, like, go in a little bit more detail about, the theme around these different meditations. So I was going to do a Facebook Live around my upcoming meditation insight timer, the focus on togetherness. About, lots of times, a lot of us have been going it alone for so long that it's really kind of hard to reach out for help and kind of brainstorm. I have a friend that we do like kind of accountability buddies, and we just kind of set an intention in new moon and then check it within ourselves at full moon to see, where we were. And that kind of helped me realize, wow, I am doing a lot. I was doing so much. I was like, I have to like be in the practice, dial it back, keep it simple. Dial it back, keep it simple is apparently my upcoming mantra that spirit wants me to recite a whole bunch. So that's fine. That's okay. And so just having someone to like, it's fine. I understand. I'm in the same boat. And so really grateful for that.
I'm in the same boat too. That's literally the conversation I was having last night with that friend. Like, I'm not working anymore tonight because I kept saying, I'm just going to dial it back. Everything's fine anyways. There is
Yeah.
balance, especially with the new and full moon here. It's interesting that you said that, Kristie, because I'm giving my Patreons right now, my patrons, my moon manifesting class. And right now they're supposed to be working on, are you working with the energy and flow of the moon? Or are you pushing against it or retracting from it? Like, are you naturally doing what she's having us do, the energy wise? And so it's interesting that you bring that up. Like, maybe it's a kind of a hot thing right now that I guess I didn't realize maybe it's everybody kind of feeling it, which is awesome. I think it's great.
Yeah.
I'm used to being with her, so because everybody does need to kind of, from in my humble opinion, pay attention. Are you naturally moving with her? Because with all aspects of life, if you are naturally, life will move much smoother.
Yes, I want to zip straight through. And I was mentioning to someone in session, I was just like, are you celebrating before you move on to the next thing? Because I presented compassion to him, like I do the exact same thing. I used to like not celebrate what I just accomplished because I didn't feel like it was enough, and I needed
No,
to move on to the next thing to prove my worth. Like, no, just getting to that point, like doing a research on a thing to see if I want to do the thing, it's a thing to celebrate. It's like, even if it's just a pat on the back, like, good on you, you did that. And if you want to, expand to like some fancy dinner or a weekend away or like a mani-pedi or a massage, or get I don't know, the fancy panty facial, and make a list of things that you'd like to do to celebrate. And maybe that'd be another thing, because I did a video about doing a list of like simple self-care things to refer to when you're like kind of stuck on how to take care of yourself. Maybe I should like do a list of things to celebrate, whether it be a pat on the back, which is just as valid as going out for a nice dinner. And if we don't celebrate those little things for ourselves, it just makes us hard to slog on when it actually is something to slog through, versus, oh, this is just a little blip in the road, no big deal, it's totally fine. Just to make it just feel like, our souls know that we're on this journey and we'll accomplish what we're supposed to accomplish, but our meat suits are sometimes a little slow to catch up to that message. And just
yeah.
paper us meat suits, just a nice little dinner, or massage or something, or just outside in the fresh air for 30 minutes or
I
something.
agree. I agree. And honestly, I think that's kind of a good reminder for me too, because I fully agree with you. Treat yourself. They say it, treat yourself.
Yeah.
Um, but so we know, let's talk about the event for a moment and maybe we'll finish up with this. My April, my April right now, is looking a lot. Let's just say a lot. And I'm grateful. I am grateful. But I kind of looked at my calendar last night with the classes I'm teaching, other small events leading into the big events, more recording. I was like, I'm grateful for it. But with you saying that right now, I just want Courtney, go back to your calendar and put moments in there of treat yourself.
Yeah.
Treat yourself. You are going to be doing a good job. You are going to be
Yeah.
doing what needs to be done.
Yeah.
Because I can easily forget that.
Yeah.
And I think it's just naturally, because for me, it was what you said in the first place. It went from, I mean, nothing was good enough. I mean, I wore jeans to my own college graduation because I didn't think getting a degree was good enough. Like that's how bad I thought I was just, it's what I'm supposed to do. This means absolutely nothing because it's not good enough. That's how bad it was with me.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and then I moved into, no, like you said, celebrate those things. And from then, though, it moves into if I have a month or a chunk of time like I do coming in April,
Yeah.
I can completely forget it. It's not that I don't believe in it. It's that
Yeah.
it's that energy, all is energy for me, and the propulsion can start going and start going. And for me, feeding myself is that stop. That okay, eat some popcorn, watch a good movie, maybe grab yourself a candy bar, soak your feet, whatever that to stop it.
Yeah.
When I have now months or time periods that look like that. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I definitely try and definitely have at least one day a week where I'm doing very little to
Mm,
nothing, like one day, because I know me, I'll get up the next day refreshed, not feeling like, and I usually try and spend at least 1 or 2 days where I'm not in my office a whole lot, just so that I can just love coming back in here again. And then while I'm in here, making this a space that's organized, I can find things, which is like really plays into the decluttering. Because I mean, so many trips to McKay's, oh my God, just like I did, and lots of times like ebooks are just great, and so just getting organized, so like when I can find things and I'm not frustrated, and then I don't lose all that momentum and energy to just being kind to myself, like, yay, I figured it out, versus why did it take you long, because it took me some time to figure it out. Okay. So yeah,
yeah,
just breaks.
yeah, exactly. I try to do that too. Um, Usually Mondays and Friday afternoons. I decided a few years ago that Friday was going to be my day of romance. And it doesn't
Cool.
mean like so much intimacy with my husband, which is nice if it happens, but like romance, just love, like just heightened love. So romance with my yard, romance with my dog, romance with especially nature. I try to do more nature things on Friday to just not have just my standard love, my everyday, I love you, I love things, but like really enhance it. And then
Yeah.
hopefully a bit of romance if I can, but truly more romance with myself. Like this is my day to just heighten the love within, see it everywhere without, if I gotta go to the store that day, I really do try to at least that just Friday. I can't do it every day. Like, but at least Friday, I'm like, oh, all these humans are most beautiful beings and all the I try to at least emphasize and enhance the love into romance level on Fridays. And it's a conscious decision though. It's a very big conscious decision. Speaking of that, our event, April 29th, ladies and gentlemen, you beautiful stars, you beings of love and light, if you are local, come on down, come on up. We are 20 minutes south of Chattanooga. We're, not that far from Atlanta. It's so interesting right where we are. It's like 2 hours from Nashville, 2 hours from Knoxville, 2 hours from Atlanta, an hour and a half, depending on how you drive, Um, we're really right in the center of that. So we're not too far from people. And Kristie McKinley is going to be there. It's going to be a great time. Live music later in the evening and belly dancers. Kristie, I did move everything around. You are going to be able to have your Reiki table.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah. So Kristie will be able to do healing on folks. And I do want to emphasize, I mean, out of local people, I've been in the same room, same environment with, and this is not in company wise, this is just in who Kristie is. I'm bragging on you, Kristie, that I've seen her work, guys, and she's in my top 2 as if I were a client. If I wanted healing for my own right or my loved one, that it's like, oh, our energy might kind of get weird. I know too much of what's going on with you, loved one. I would actually send them to you, Kristie, because I've seen it. You can do, sister.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So, and it's not in judgment of others. It's just in, I guess, what I can perceive as, yeah, you opened yourself up, that vessel, that it's a magnificent vessel for
thanks.
to pull out, to spill out of. Definitely.
Well, I think one of the things I really appreciate, like the market that you put on, is like there's so many different Reiki practitioners there, but we're not in competition with each other because we're bringing specific gifts to, like, we're sharing our specific gifts, and Jenny Lee, who like does sound healing, and just and it's in competition with her. I don't do sound bowls. Why would I feel like I'm in competition with her? It's just, I like that you just, this is a place of love and good energy. No one is in competition. And you've I really love the boundaries and the structure that you give to it. You make it plain about, this is what's happening. This is what I need you to do. I love that. Thank you so much.
I don't
like structure. Yes.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I don't know if everybody appreciates it. No, a lot of people do. I think because right now we have a lot of new people that are going to be at this event. So I think for them, it's like, whoa, this is different. Like, because I am more hands-on. Because if there is structure and we do understand we are there, not in competition, we know that this world has enough space and expansion for everyone. This is all inclusive, all welcoming, all loving. But it does have to have structure. Like, this is what's happening, folks. Some are feeling it out, let's say, because they're not used to, because I've worked many events that it's, you pay for your booth, you walk in and you just decide wherever you're going to go, and it's a free-for-all. And there's been a lot of this, of course, needs to be more structured because dancers, the bands, there's more to it. And also, for me, structure is that security. For a lot of people, that it does give them that sense of, you are going to be welcome. We're going to take care of you. Everything's going to be good. You just shine. You just be who you are, and you don't worry about anything, right?
Yeah.
But I personally have not experienced, well, no, I guess I should say I kind of have experienced at other events working as a practitioner myself, or a reader, I should say. I do the readings at events. I've witnessed like horrible stuff. I mean, like, you're in a booth, somebody's in a booth, and the booth right next to them does not like them being there. So they're moving their minds, they're doing, like, I have witnessed horrible stuff. I've witnessed just really bad, horrible stuff.
Yeah.
Events that really should have fell on the person hosting it to handle
Mm,
all this stuff.
yeah.
Um, and no one was handling it. Like, no.
Oh, that's
So,
unfortunate.
yeah, I'm a little bit more hands-on because of what I have witnessed a lot of that stuff and or horror stories from, girlfriends that like was a horrible time type
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
Um, bit more hands-on because like none of that is a part of the energy we're trying to use to usher in new earth, to literally
Exactly.
idle new earth energy,
Yeah.
so I am, and some people are still kind of like, why is she so hands-on? Well, it's by the end of the day, you're gonna enjoy that I was. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, I deeply appreciate and yeah, exactly. Because I realized looking back on it, like the first time I was in the middle of like transitioning into a new version of Kristie, and I wasn't fully as present as I would have liked to have been. I mean, it was still a wonderful, beautiful learning experience. Got to meet like an amazing amount of people. I was like, you know what? We're in a better space. Let's, and then you'd invited us to do it again. I was like, I realized what triggers and trauma I had to work through because that was such a beautiful teaching lesson for me that felt safe enough for me to feel through all my feels. And I think it was like, yeah, it was September 11th. I think that was part of the part of the feels of it too, where I shared my story about feeling more comfortable using my gifts and understanding the history of like how I ended up, inheriting my gifts from my grandfather and like what he had to go through because he had no support system. And that just felt like a parallel teaching moment for me. So I saw it as a sign when you're like, hey, we're doing this again. You would do like, yes, I'm there. What do I need to do? What do I need to send you?
Yeah, that's another thing, Christy. I just from even the previous one to this one, your work ethic and integrity and who you are as in how I think I said to you once, I don't have to worry about what you're posting, what you're doing, and none of it. Like you just let Christy roll and she's got it. Like, some others, it is kind of like hoarding cats, which is normal, in all big events. And there's so many different, and I'm not complaining here. I do it out of love. Um, that first event was actually real interesting
Mm,
because I was going through my own, like I said, so much.
yeah.
And I think everybody there was. That's why that first day, that Saturday,
Mhm.
it was as if we just needed to be around. I
Yeah.
mean, it what was happening, we've had very few people actually walk through the door on that Saturday, but there was so much community healing that needed to be happening. And I personally did not realize this was the first time people had really been around each other,
Mm,
as far
yeah.
as like event of like-minded people coming together. Everybody had been to birthday parties or this or that, but it's something like that. And everybody was going through something that day, releasing, healing, which was good. I just I guess I wasn't expecting that. But looking back, like you said, I was
Mhm.
even through my own stuff, and I'm the one kind of holding space for folks. Um,
Yeah.
and the look and feel of it was not exactly what I necessarily sought out. This time around, this April, it is getting much more closer to what is in my head of would be more
Mhm.
of a kind of eventually in my head I see more of a holistic cultural fair kind of merging festival together of all different walks of life because that's what I'm all about, just the all. I
Yeah.
love it, and
Yeah.
it's starting to slowly form into that. And what I love is that this is the first event that we have the music. We have actually every, let's just say, tap of culture or appearance, let's say, of culture is represented, even if it's a small way or a big way, from Native to African American to Hispanic to Asian. At least now, I know it sounds kind of like a weird concept for me to be thinking this way, but the representation of all cultures, I just want that to be grown more and more with our different ways of healing modalities, with our different ways of music, different this, like, oh my goodness, I see it, over time being exactly that, the new earth energy of all man, human, coming together with our our differences highlighting our similarities. That's what I,
Yes.
you know what I mean? That's what I'm
Yes.
looking for.
Yes, and it's really interesting that you mentioned that, because going back to the folks that are worried about Reiki being evil and everything, the only thing I've ever noticed with Reiki is there are so many people from different religious walks of life with similar stories and issues and challenges that come to me. Like it almost seems like I always try and be sincere when I tell somebody I understand you're not alone. And I don't mean to be flippant about it. Like I promise you, because I've I've gosh, I've
Yeah.
offered Reiki to like the woman that's very devoutly Christian, and I've offered Reiki to someone who's in a very open relationship, BDSM, is lifestyle. I mean, it's just we all have those similar challenges of, do we feel confident enough and worthy about living the life that lights us up and makes us happy?
Kristie, I don't think people know that. Well, you do because you were sitting by her, Morgan. God love Morgan. She's gonna be with us again. Our bling girl that makes all
Oh
the
yes, I have my I got a little peacock design. They're so
yes.
pretty. I bought one from her. Yes.
She, what people might have not known, she is a devout Christian. She had never been around a holistic community like that of different faiths, different this. She had never experienced that, and she had enough inner strength and confidence and courage to sit amongst us. And she was like, for her, and I don't mean to go all into Morgan stuff, and I'm not really, but her expression of, I didn't know that we were going to be so similar. I didn't know that we're actually all very much alike, and I'm learning a great deal. And she was like, none of this is actually really frightening. We're just people. And she had never experienced anything like that, Market, being around people of different face, different this, different, and we have all kinds,
Yes.
all different experiences that I mean, for her, the eye opening and expansion, and that's what I'm talking about, from
Yeah.
cultural, faith based to
Yeah.
we're all just humans,
Yeah.
walking this awakening as individuals, but we're doing it together, and that's the goal. And so for me, she's gonna come back again.
Yeah, I
When,
saw that post. Excited.
yeah, when she expressed a lot of it and we were having a sincere conversation, that actually hit me more than really anything else. I mean, a lot hit me from that,
Well,
but
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
that's exactly what we're doing. We're
Yes.
everybody in so they can know who we are, we can know who they are, and we can see each other for the first time, really see each other. That's what it,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. And to that, it's like you'd like set the intention. Like when I was talking to her, because she'd asked me some questions, it was like, I'd just set the intention to be as honest and authentic with her as I could, and being in integrity with my answer. And I think a lot of times, I've seen some folks do this. They're like, and my friend, my Tang Soo Do instructor said, like, sometimes people can be spiritually smug and like poo poo, And I was like, I'm just really grateful that she felt comfortable enough and I'm really grateful that I have been working on myself enough, because I could have been a straight up jerk, but I was like, no, this is a really good opportunity to be of intention and walk my talk and have some integrity, and just be who I am trying very hard to be, is like a good person, to like help this person just feel comfortable and safe. Because I remember all the times that I haven't been safe, and I haven't been, and I don't want that for anyone else. And sometimes I almost do it, like I almost get really kind of, make sure you're safe to the point where I'm probably mildly creepy, but I really, like, I want someone to feel safe, because I know that's how we heal. I know that's how we grow. I know that's how we break these cycles. And sometimes I can catch myself getting really kind of fanatical about it. And that's when I have to, like, okay, McKinley, calm down, girl. You are doing fine. It's okay. Take a deep breath. But I really just, I don't know. I kind of like, I kind of check in with myself to like see, okay, am I still on the path that my soul has in store for me? And I think it's always been safety, but it's shifting more and more squarely with safety and comfort with being in our bodies and being who we're meant to show up as in this life. That's just something to ponder on.
Well, I honestly, sweetheart, see, and we don't know how, the energy's moving and how things, work. And so I know the first day you spoke with her a lot because you were sitting by her. Sunday wore a shirt with a cross on it. And I turned around and said, I love a shirt. Well, there were not people that were working the event that really, that they were then uncomfortable, right?
Oh,
We're worried.
okay.
They, were in their feelings. But because they asked me, they literally, others that were working the event, they said at one time, they were like, why would you have a Christian here? They literally asked me that on Sunday.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yes, sweetheart. And my response was, this is energy to usher in the new earth. What, you think we would just exclude all the Christians?
Yeah.
And I walked away.
Yeah.
Because that meaning you have to look at yourself, that that's probably
Absolutely.
that's hurt that you grew up with, that's hurt that something happened to you. But
Yeah.
don't just create energy to usher in this beautiful new land of ours and exclude a whole population of people.
Yeah.
That's not what we do. So I mean, because you and her more than most, because you did that, you helped her feel safe there. She then wore that shirt, and then I was able to shut down the kind of energy I don't want at that event. That's
Yeah.
not me.
Boundaries.
Right. Exactly. Because
Yeah.
that's not what's welcomed here. I literally have said it in every email. As you all know, I say it in every email. This is an all welcoming event.
Yeah.
And when they asked me that, I just went, wow. And what blows my mind is I know the people that work this personally, many of them are still very Christian in their own way, Christ consciousness and Christian.
Yeah.
And they might be readers. They might be what you think is now. So that I was kind of able to, I love the fact that Morgan felt comfortable enough to do that because that representation represents, sister. It's who you are.
Yeah.
But because she felt safe to do that, I was able to go, oh, now I understand your energy might not mix with what we're doing here because all beautiful and welcome. And I did have to, after that, I did say, maybe that's something you have to work on, period.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Because that's their own hurt being projected onto this beautiful being, Morgan, who is a delightful, beautiful person. She didn't do anything to them.
Exactly.
Right. She didn't do anything.
Showed up sharing her gifts. Just showed up sharing her gifts.
Yes. Yeah. And she was, like we said, enough courage to go to something she's never been around and to
That's
learn
huge.
and to accept it. And she's, she told me, I've learned a lot. I don't know how much I would believe, but like the learning and seeing the different opinions, thoughts, and taking it into to either challenge my own faith or, look at things that might be apropos to my faith, so, it we've talked a lot about, but that's a little element that people didn't know happened. This is all backstage
Yeah,
inter
I just had delightful conversations with her, just hung out with her,
yeah,
and I met her husband, he was a nice fella, he brought her lunch, and it was like, yeah, they were just super sweet. Didn't completely under the radar, didn't know it doesn't
that's
happen.
a lot that happens at these events that really I'm the one holding space for all these people. I'm the one that gets all the stuff. I'm the one that I might have to shut that down because that's not the right energy. I'm the one doing all this. So there's actually a lot in every event that the layers go so deep as to we really are building a community that people can safe to come into. People can learn and educate themselves. People can start healing in various different ways and also have great time collectively, energetically, that's the point. And so I'm appreciative that I can serve in that manner, kind of hold that space and take in all the take it all in. And I'm the
Yeah,
type, if I do need to go, yep, that energy is not a part of this. I feel very privileged that I can be in that role and watch the beauty that ensues, right? All of it. It's
yeah.
so we've talked enough about it, ladies and gentlemen, you beautiful stars, you beings of love and light. Um, April 29th, Ringgold, Georgia. I'm going to put a Facebook page to the event, New Earth Energy Market. I'll put Kristie's Facebook page so you can go there and get all of her stuff. It is going to be a good time. Come talk with Kristie and follow her because she's always doing nice videos that I enjoy, Kristie, and oftentimes our energy is so interlinked. Well, we're affected by all of the ness that happens, right? That I'll watch one of your videos and it's like, that's what I need to hear. I love it. I
I'm
absolutely love
glad you say that because sometimes like spirit just like get on to say stuff. This doesn't make any sense. I don't understand it. I don't care. It didn't really not quite like that brusque, but I'll say sometimes I'll do things like I don't understand, but okay.
Yeah, no,
So
and
it turns out all good.
what's good is that I'm always focused on what I'm doing and recording and being for those that I serve. That
Yeah.
Chris, I need messages from you to help me serve myself again. Be like, oh, that is what we're going through, Courtney, because I'm focused on the others, right? And then all of a sudden I'll see Kristie and I'm like, that's exactly what I need to do. Thank you, Kristie. Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you for coming on, my friend.
Oh, you're
Um,
welcome, beloved.
yeah, this has been a good time. And if anybody did of maybe trying Reiki, are you going to be there on the 15th or at J?
No, I have space. I'm gonna be offering Reiki at Soul Shine in Somerville.
Okay, cool. Somerville, Georgia. Nice.
Yeah, yeah.
So fine. Okay. Yeah, Kristie, if you send me the information, I can attach that to this too. Because
Okay.
I know people that watch that are further down that way as well. Very
Okay.
cool.
Yeah. The Linktree link is probably the easiest because I kind of
Yeah,
organize it to where like the Soul Shine and then the event are like they're all at the top towards the top.
excellent. Good.
Yes.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Miss Kristie. And oh,
You're welcome. Thank you
other
so much.
yes. Oh, it'll be so good. Bye, sweetheart. I bow to you, my
Okay,
dear.
take care.